Hello all, thanks for tuning in. If you like old vintage trains, please subscribe. Today we're talking a little bit about the Fe Mikado in O-scale. This was their last steam engine that they came out with pre-war. Based on the Santa Fe Mikado. It's a cast bronze boiler. Big KD motor inside there. Cast tender here. This one's hooked up for two rail. They came out with outside third rail or two rail. This was introduced at the end of 1940. Here we have the plans. They were offered as kits, selling for roughly $62.50 to $67.50. And there's your basic chassis, motor, kind of a spring drive to the worm. And you can see it was introduced here August of 1940, designed by KB, who was, I believe, Ken Boyd, who also, I believe, worked on their Hudson. Here's their catalog illustration. Scalcraft kind of had two schools of engines. On the left here, you have their SP Mountain. This is a sheet brass boiler with a die-cast tender. The lines are very clean on this. And then the Hudson and the Mikado are the cast bronze boilers. Depending on who their castings were, they weren't quite as fine as some of the others. But this was introduced the end of 40 and also offered in 41. And of course, then World War II happened, and that was the end of it. They sold it in kit form. You could buy it in sections, or you could buy the whole thing. And here are the molds to make the boiler. The detailing on the molds here are quite nice, quite sharp, but unfortunately, whoever did their foundry work, as you can see, it gets a little muddy in reality, and not quite as clean as one might like. Of course, you could spend hours and hours cleaning the casting, but maybe they didn't quite use proper sand at the material when they did this. Unfortunately, World War II kind of shut down everything. You had Elliott Donnelly at the head of Scalcraft, so he was able to make a small fortune. Of course, he had the ability to, because he started out with a large fortune, so he really couldn't make much money in O-scale. He was able to make much more money in the printing industry, which was family business, which happened post-war. So this was introduced in 40. World War II, everything kind of shut down, and unfortunately, it never really came back to fruition post-war. Elliott Donnelly had his mind and money elsewhere. There were a couple false starts, but the engines never came back online. Ultimately, the molds and the patterns went to Bob Smith of Central Locomotive Works, but nothing really came to fruition regarding the manufacturing or reproduction of these. The cars came out, various manufacturers. We're pulling some old Scalcraft cars here from the 30s and 40s, which they did reissue some of those post-war, but they did not bring back the steam engine. So we'll run the Mikado again, and thank you for tuning in.